Meet residential realtor BeckyJean Thompson.
I'm helping people buy and sell.
It's easy to look at her stats and think that she's got it all figured out.
Well, I'm strategizing with my people to put in offers that are creative.
In just 1 year, she sold 24 homes.
It is a fight. Inventory is low and buyers are out there. So yeah, I have to put my gloves. I have to take my gloves off too.
She's clearly very good at what she does. Organized, efficient, consistent.
I tend not to pat myself on the back when I'm not having that big moment. But I'm here and consistent every day, which leads to those big moments.
But when BeckyJean stepped into the Fairy BOSSmother Show, I met a woman with professional lockdown.
I have a number in my head where I thought that I would close last year and this year. And I didn't reach that number. And I guess I'm harder on myself than anybody else could ever be.
From the moment we started recording, BeckyJean had a guard up. When you're not closing on a home, does that mean you're not getting paid, right?
Correct. I could work with someone for an entire year, a buyer, and if they decide to back out of the market, I don't get paid for any of that time.
She came in asking for boss mode. BeckyJean, you're killing it. Now what?
Maintaining.
But boss mode only works when you're willing to show the real weight of your mission. It sounds like you're stuck in a hamster wheel to me. This was control and my biggest challenge yet. I'm doing a lot of talking and that shouldn't happen, BeckyJean. Let's meet BeckyJean Thompson. Now, before we meet BeckyJean, I asked her some questions about her business so I could learn a little bit more about how she talks about herself and what she does. Let's take a look. So when I asked her, what is your business all about and who do you serve? Becky said that she's a realtor in Massachusetts and Connecticut, serving, buying, and listing clients. It's pretty typical for a realtor to be doing all of that stuff. So what I would like to find out is how deep she's going in order to get all of that in place for herself and the kind of clientele that she's really chasing after, so she's not watering down her focus completely. When I asked her, what are your main goals for your business right now? BeckyJean says, number one, to stay on top of mind for past clients for their needs and referrals. And two, create marketing like social media content to attract new clients. That's really smart because right now, realtors are really killing it on social media because they have to be creative, be outside of the box, and not a lot of realtors actually do the social media game. So if BeckyJean is really serious about taking this path for her career, she's going to see a lot of success, but there does need to be a strategy in place, and that level of consistency needs to match that game as well. When I asked her, what are your biggest challenge you're currently facing in reaching those goals? She said, more face-to-face with past clients, and two, getting creative with content. She nailed exactly what is so classic about social media, always coming up with creative content. But you don't always have to come up with creative content. When you have a polished personal brand, you know exactly who you are, what you do, why you do it, and what you want to bring to the table, not for the clients, you know what the clients need, but really for yourself, then content becomes no problem whatsoever. So I think BeckyJean's challenge is she's not pushing herself out of that professional comfort zone enough to be a little bit more vulnerable on social media. And that professionalism is probably slowing her down in reaching those newer markets. When I asked her, have you done anything to build your personal brand? She said, I've determined what I want to be known for, and I've built an online presence, but it needs more consistency. I would love to know exactly the kind of personal brand that she's carved out for herself, because that is going to be what puts BeckyJean on the map out of all of the other realtors that are fishing in the same market for her. Having said that, let's meet BeckyJean Thompson. What's up, BeckyJean? So awesome to have you on the Fairy BOSSmother Show today. How are you doing today?
I am good. Thank you so much. And good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the first time we had a realtor on the show. Before we get started, would you like the full-on boss mode, meaning my gloves are off and I'm going to just give you it to it straight? Or do you want the kiddie gloves on and I go a little bit softer on you?
No, put the gloves on. It's fine.
You want the kiddie gloves on?
No, come at me, Taylene. Just do what you got to do.
Oh,
I'm ready for it.
All right, BeckyJean wants gloves off. Okay. So, BeckyJean, tell us who you are and what you do.
I am BeckyJean Thompson. I am a realtor in Madison, Connecticut with Coldwell Banker Realty. I'm helping people buy and sell.
As simple as that. Just
as simple
big
as that.
Purchases, a lot of emotion behind buying these properties and selling those properties. How did you get into this?
I was in human resources for quite some time, and the people portion of it was fabulous. It was the corporate life that I wasn't a huge fan of. So I thought, how can I take that people portion that I fill myself into and do something and work as hard for myself as I do for others? So realtor life was it.
So, Becky Jean, in on an average year, how many houses do you sell?
Last year was, I believe, 24.
Wow. Okay, not
Yeah,
bad, not bad.
yeah.
And do you find that typically there are a lot of houses to sell, or is it a fight between every other agent in the area?
It is a fight. Inventory is low and buyers are out there. So yeah, I have to put my gloves. I have to take my gloves off too.
So what do you do when you're in that situation? The inventory's low, the market's drying up. There's just everyone is hungry to sell these homes because that's how you make your money. So
Right.
what are you doing during those low season?
Well, I'm strategizing with my people to put in offers that are creative. You know, if they're willing to go outside the box and do things, that's definitely a plus. But when things are slower, I'm still out there talking to people and having coffee dates and sending cards and making sure that they know what's going on in the market, even if they're not ready to do something.
Okay, and how has that been working out for you so far?
Good. I feel it's always tough in the beginning when you first start off, but I'm 6 years in now. So I am the real estate resource for my people, and they're coming to realize that even if they're not ready again to sell or buy, they're calling me for, a handyman recommendation or anything like that. So
I'm curious to know, Becky Jean, what is the worst house that you sold and how did you sell it?
there was a house, I won't say where, but there was a house that had a very strong smell of animals. And after a few weeks of it being on the market, all the feedback said we needed to do something about that. So the seller said, "Oh, we probably should have believed you." So they did remedy that, and off it went to the next owner. But that one was tough.
Yeah, maybe to another animal lover,
Maybe, maybe. But when people are selling their house, they get so emotional, and they're like, "What do you mean? That's our animals. I don't see a problem." And you're like, "Oh, I do."
Yeah.
So that one was a tough one.
Oh my gosh, how many years ago was this?
4.
Oh, okay. And it's still
Yeah,
up your nose. You can still smell it.
yeah, I can.
Oh my gosh, me too. And I wasn't even there.
Mhm.
So, Becky Jean, what is the biggest thing that's keeping you from getting to where you really want to be? Like, what is your big stretch goal with, I guess, your realty? I want to find out what your ambitions are with your current career right now.
I have a number in my head where I would thought that I would close last year and this year. And I didn't reach that number. And I guess I'm harder on myself than anybody else could ever be. So that's that. Let me preface that. But I think it's maintaining that drive and that motivation, even when I'm not having a closing. So I can't pat myself on the back. I tend not to pat myself on the back when I'm not having that big moment, but I'm here and consistent every day, which leads to those big moments. So I think that's a challenge that I have to
Okay,
overcome.
tell me more about these big moments. How do you expect those big moments to feel? How do you know when a big moment has arrived?
Well, a closing is a big moment.
Mm.
Having an offer accepted is a big moment. But even, I'm having an ice cream social for past clients in June, and just getting those RSVPs from people saying, "Oh my gosh, we'd love to see you. Of course, we're going to come have an ice cream." I'm finding joy and contentment in just those big moments. So it's I guess it's perception as to what
Definitely.
the big moment is.
So let's get real, Becky Jean. When you're not closing on a home, does that mean you're not getting paid for what
Correct.
you're doing, right?
Correct. I could work with someone for an entire year, a buyer, and if they decide to back out of the market, I don't get paid for any of that time.
So what do you
So
do?
yeah, move on. If there's a lesson to learn, I'm learning it. But yeah, if someone decides that they don't want to move forward in a list side or a buy side, then we don't get paid.
Yeah, and that must be crushing because you've been investing so much of your own time, your own energy. The fact that you're doing these socials right now, it could lead to nothing at the end of it. But it sounds like you're very much a relationship person. You mentioned the thank you cards and
Mhm.
how you go out of your way to network. So it sounds like you rely a lot on referrals for your business. Is there
I
any
do.
other way that you market yourself outside of just hoping that someone is going to remember your name, Becky Jean, and going, "Hey, I'm selling a house and I'm going to go to Becky Jean to sell my house." But that could be like 20 years from now. What do you do right now to make sure that you are able to feel those big wins immediately as opposed to biding your time and working on those relationships? Like, what is the immediate results that you need hit right now?
To be honest, if you could shed light on that, that would be great. I don't know that there's any now moments, because buying a 100, 200, 300, 400, $500,000 house is huge, and people just don't think of that spur of the moment. So it's maintaining those relationships where when somebody says, oh my gosh, my daughter wants to buy a house, they're like, oh, BeckyJean, here's her number. She's great. You need to give her a call. But other than that, I mean, posting on social media so people are reminded of what I do. But yeah, it's not like I have a shirt that I can say, this is great. Do you want to buy it? It's their houses.
It sounds like you're playing a game of peekaboo, just going, peekaboo, I see you. Do you see me? Like, I'm here. I can literally sell you a house, but they're not ready yet. Or they're not in a position to, like, financial position to do it. So there's a lot of external factors that is keeping you in the same position that you're in right now. You mentioned that you have quotas in your head and you're not giving yourself the pat on the back. Why do you feel like you don't deserve that pat on the back, BeckyJean?
Because, as I said, I'm harder on myself than anybody could be, and I have to. I'm growing a lot in 2025, and one of that is realizing those small wins lead to big wins.
I'm curious to know, you don't have to share if you don't feel comfortable, but what is the quota that you want to hit every single year, or maybe just specifically this year?
So I want to increase. I would love to close 30 deals. And I don't know that I'm going to hit it this year because of where we're at already. But I also keep in mind the market, interest rates, all the different factors that play into that. So I still keep that goal, whether we hit it or not. I still strive, strive. I'm still working it.
Okay. Sounds like you need a different goal, BeckyJean, where you're not focused on just numbers, because then you're just treating yourself like a salesperson as opposed to an expert who knows their stuff, who people can go back to because you've provided them so much expert feedback. You're positioning someone to sell their house way in advance, as opposed to just doing socials and just reminding people, I exist, I'm alive, I'm here. It's you plus thousands of other realtors who are literally doing the same thing as you, because they're all after the same inventory as you. It's not like it's divvied up to people. Even people in your own company are going after the same housing market as you. So before I get into the harder questions, BeckyJean, what brought you to the Fairy BOSSmother Show today?
Knowing that you would be honest and forthcoming and give me some tips that I can take away in my growth here.
Okay, so you know what? Let's imagine money has been taken out of the equation. You hit your quota every single year. It's like seamless now. People are coming to you. They're remembering you. They're saying, BeckyJean is the only realtor for me. And I'm going to pass all the referrals on to BeckyJean. And I'm seeing her on social, doing her thing. She's absolutely amazing. BeckyJean, you're killing it. Now what?
Maintaining, I suppose. Or,
doesn't that get really boring?
Real estate, I don't think it's ever really boring. Full disclosure, every single transaction is completely different. And they say until you close 100, you don't know what the heck you're doing. So I would say that that's accurate. But I don't know that it would ever be boring, because when it involves people, that's a whole other ball game.
So you just feel like you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life and just selling houses?
I don't know that I would mind that, honestly.
And then when people remember you, BeckyJean, how would you like to be remembered?
As a resource, as someone who cares, as someone who is always available when they need me. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you're stuck in a hamster wheel to me, because you're expecting people to come to you. It's like you're in a show. You're just running rings. You want to maintain. You're basically just going around in circles, hoping that your situation doesn't get worse, it just stays the same. So if you're just staying in one position, you're trapping yourself in that ring because you decided to stay stuck in that position. Like, do you feel like you can sell houses elsewhere? I mean, bigger houses, or more difficult projects, or more complicated projects, or houses vary from size to size, from budget to budget. Who do you really want to work with? Because it sounds like you're working with whoever is accepting you right now.
First-time home buyers, veterans, and those that need to move on from a family home. Those are my top three.
Okay. And who do you like working with the most out of those top three choices?
I guess, I really like working with veterans, because I was a military spouse for years and years. So I know that life, and I'm very empathetic for that life. So I would say that brings out a different side.
So BeckyJean, I'm going to spin it slightly differently. So money isn't an object. You're known for selling these houses. But if we were to narrow it down just a little bit, right? Because right now you're doing this. I'm like, I know you've got 3 different target audiences, but still they're quite broad. And you can't talk to first-time home buyers the way you can talk to veterans. It's a completely different market. And because of that, you're distilling your message, you're spreading yourself out too thin, and you're not going to the right places in order to capture those markets. So it's a matter of choosing which market do I fully want to dominate and fully want to be known for. Is it the first-time home buyers or is it the veterans? Because you just mentioned you've got a background in, having a veteran spouse, working with veterans. You are super empathetic. You have a really big heart. Imagine BeckyJean becomes the realtor for veterans only. And you're not talking about just the area that you're working in. This is nationwide now. You can help people go from one place to another, relocate, downsize, upscale. There's a lot of potential with what you can do with that market. You're helping them find funding so that they can actually afford better housing to the situation that you're in. You're in a market, in a career where you're making people's lives better. So now we're not leaning into, hey, I buy and sell houses. I make veterans' lives better by repositioning them in a home that they will completely fall in love with and feel like home.
Yeah, that's valid. And I would say that many veterans, I forget the statistic, somebody put it out on Memorial Day that we just passed, that it's like 80% of veterans have no idea what their benefits are when it comes to VA loans for housing. And that was shocking when I read that. I was like, wow, that's terrible. That is terrible that they don't know that's this huge benefit that they have.
And then, of course, as a realtor, BeckyJean, you tell me if I'm wrong. You are someone who is a super connector. You know the contractors, you know the loan officers, you know people that can help an individual buy a home. You're just someone in the middle to help them facilitate that relationship. Yeah. But if you were to completely, fully lean into the veteran zone, you know what benefits work for them, what gaps they have in their financing, how the government can potentially help, like federal or statewide. You're the woman with that knowledge. And that turns you, BeckyJean, into an expert. So when I'm saying all this back to you, how does that make you feel?
I think all of that is fair to consider becoming, and not pigeonholing myself. I just made up a new word, but sort of focusing. Yep.
Yeah. So I want you to imagine this, right? There's a dartboard. Right now, your darts are going all over the place, hoping that it's going to stick somewhere. What you want to do is focus on the bullseye instead, because those are the people that are going to refer you out. They're going to be the ones to talk you up. They're going to be the ones to say, I don't trust any other realtor because they don't have the knowledge that BeckyJean has. And she was able to help me. And she knows so much. I didn't have this information whatsoever. Your bullseye, you're not pigeonholing yourself when you're focusing on just the bullseye, because they're the ones that are going to keep your quota high. They're going to be the ones to tell other people in their position and say, if BeckyJean can help me and I'm a mess, she can help you too. And then literally everyone else on the board, of course you're going to work with them, BeckyJean. You're not going to turn business down, but your messaging and your positioning is now focused only on the bullseye, and everyone else, you're kind of zoning them out. But they're going to be the people that are looking at you and going, ooh, what she's doing is super interesting. And oh my God, my uncle is a veteran. I should maybe tell him about her. And that's how you start that ripple effect.
Thank you. It makes sense.
So it sounds like I'm doing a lot of talking, and that shouldn't happen, BeckyJean. What's going through your head right now?
Thinking of all the things I could do in order to make that happen, and utilizing, my husband's connections too. Because after being in the military for 26 years, he knows a couple of people. So
yeah. And it's also not just the people within your network, it's now organizations where you can go and talk, do workshops, give presentations to that ready-made audience. And you're coming in as a realtor who is an expert with this group. All of a sudden, BeckyJean, you're removing yourself as being just a salesperson to an expert for this very particular group of people. It's a really big difference, because people are not hiring you for your relationships. They're hiring you because they're certain that you can help them.
I sit on a board, an executive board for a veterans services organization. And, I'm doing specific and targeted community service, I guess is what you could call it, for veterans. Why wouldn't I also do that targeted for my business? Makes sense.
So now you're marrying the two together. It's not siloed anymore. There's a real purpose for you to go and help these individuals, because number one, you're personally invested. People learn about your story. 26 years is a long time. And then you've got a lot of case studies under your belt too, to say, you know what, these veterans had no idea that, all of these benefits were available to them. And then I came along and I shared them what was possible, and boom, this is what the results were.
Makes sense. It's eye-opening.
Okay, let's do a mid check-in, BeckyJean. Am I going too easy on you, or should I go deeper?
Go deeper, Taylene.
Okay, well, let's check out how you are positioned online, BeckyJean. I'm dying to know how you're promoting yourself, because as a realtor, it doesn't matter what company you work for. BeckyJean, no one hires the company, they hire the people behind the company. So have you Googled yourself before?
I have. It's been a while.
Yeah, and what sort of information was coming up about you?
I believe I saw my Facebook page. I'm going way back. I believe I saw my Facebook page, my Google page, my old website still came up, but the new one did as well, I believe.
Okay. And do you feel like, what do you think I'm going to say about your social medias and positioning?
I don't know. Have at it though. I'm listening.
Okay, let's check it out. Let me share my screen. Right, so let's take a look at what comes up. I'm just going to Google your name first to see what comes up. And the good news is you do show up right on the first page, but I think since you've got such a unique name where Becky and Jean are put together and it's not separate. Yeah, you can see that Google is forcing me to separate your first name.
Yeah.
Stop it, Google. Her name is BeckyJean. Right. Is any of this surprising to you?
No. LinkedIn, Zillow, some videos. Oh, look, the one with you.
There it is.
Yep.
Okay. I quickly want to check your images. So your images, again, you are showing up in everything. So here's the good news, BeckyJean. In terms of your name, you can completely own your name. And we can seriously level up your personal brand because you have no competition when it comes to your name and your online presence on social media. Mm-hmm. And I love seeing that you've got 43 Google reviews. How do you get those reviews for yourself?
I ask, what's the worst that happens? So before a closing is done, I talk to my clients and I say, hey, I'm going to send you a link. I would love if you filled this out. And I would say 9.5 times out of 10, they're like, yeah. And I was utilizing a tip for those that may be listening. I was utilizing a different platform for reviews. And then I decided to switch over to Google. So I was asking a bunch of people to take their old reviews and put them over. And a lot of people entertain that too.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Because Google is one of the most underutilized resource for business owners. And the fact that you're doing it, that's really, really great. It's super smart. That's awesome. So you're doing really well with your reputation and credibility. You have very little competition in terms of your name. So the next question is, how are you showing up on your website? So Coldwell Banker Realty, tell me, BeckyJean, is this something that you have control over, or is it just whatever they give you?
No, it's what I have control over.
Yeah. Okay. How did you decide on this format and layout?
I worked with someone in our marketing department to come up with something other than the regular standard template, which all CB agents have.
Okay.
So it's sort of a work in progress because this isn't the standard. It's sort of the next step. And then I can customize it from here.
Yeah, it's not bad for a realty website. This is actually a level up. So you're doing really well. The only thing that's letting you down, BeckyJean, is you've got your name right there in front of everyone to see. You've got your contacts, you've got a great photo of yourself, but I am really not seeing what is driving you to help an individual buy and sell their home. Where is your story? And the fact that you have been in human resources, that's not really the story. The story is you're very much a people's person. You want people to succeed. You know, the fact that you sold 24 homes in a year, those are things that I would probably want to hear if I was choosing an agent. Where is the heart in your story?
Well, there's more under the About Me section. Do you think that kind of information should be on a front page?
Absolutely. Because if I have 5 seconds to look at your website, it needs to hit completely, right? No one has time to go through all of the details. If it doesn't buy me in the first 5 seconds, you've lost a client. Yeah, so we should just add it straight up there. And I love the fact that you've got what my clients are saying, but it's very quick. It just kind of goes through. So it might be better to have at least 3 standing testimonials where it's not moving. It looks great, but I can't read it. And that way we can see a little bit more clarity on what your clients are saying about you. And the featured properties, I would say the featured properties need to go way higher because these are the properties that are in your inventory right now. I want to see them right on top because I want to know what's in the market for someone like me. With regards to your blogging, how often do you blog?
I try to do it every Monday. I started to do it every Monday. I have not been consistent.
Okay. All right. Let's take a quick look on Facebook. So you have two different Facebook. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you have two?
Sure. So I started the business page. Well, I've always had a personal page. It feels like forever. The business page was created so that I could run Facebook and Meta ads. I found that I had more interaction on my personal page. So I tend to post there more than my business.
Okay. So yeah. Well, you have, where was the count? 1.2, well, 1,200 friends on Facebook, which is really great versus, so this is your business Facebook.
Yep.
Still decent, 764. Why do you think this one is not converting as much as your personal one?
I don't know. Even when I was posting consistently, I felt like there wasn't a lot of interaction. I'm not sure.
I would like to ask, what is the purpose behind you being on Facebook? What do you hope to achieve from that?
To continue to be in front of people. And well, on a personal note, it's to share things so people know what's going on. But on a business note, it's to share what I'm doing for my people in the background, accomplishments, reminding people what I do.
So what do you feel like, what is your most interesting post for you? What do you like talking about the most?
I really like to do videos, regardless of what it's about, whether it's about a house or a Q&A. I like to do videos. I don't post enough of them, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Bye, Taylene.
Well, do you have a schedule where you are prioritizing videos?
I don't.
Okay, boom. That's why. That's why you're not doing videos, because it's not a priority for you. If it's not on your schedule, it's not in your life. So
that's valid because my calendar is time blocked. So why I don't have it on there? That's valid.
What does your typical day-to-day look like?
Calls, cards, following up on emails, showings, and/or listing appointments, grabbing my kids, making dinner.
Do you do the cards every single day, or do you have a once a week thing?
I try to do it once a week. Sometimes something will come up and I'll do it twice a week. If somebody, parent passed or things like that. Yeah. I try not to delay.
It sounds like video content creation with just videos need to be on your calendar. At least give yourself a 3-hour block where the first thing you do is write down what you want to talk about. So this is going to be pre-planned. You're not just thinking on a whim. And if you decide, you know what, I do want to niche down a little bit to hit that bullseye, start doing a brainstorm of all of the information that's going to be relevant just to them. Next, once you figured out what people are looking for, the information that they don't have, that's where you come in. Then you can start to figure out, okay, there's a lot of information about benefits that's out there. But what about the housing condition that most veterans live in? Show them a reality of where they are and where they could be. And then you can give them, hey, look at all the options that I have. And maybe once a month, there could be a client case study where you helped an individual move from A to B. You don't have to give their names. It's just storytelling. You're sharing a story. But people are seeing you sharing that story. They're feeling your personality. They're hearing the way you talk about things. Those are going to be the videos that make people remember you, because in your area, you can also maybe take a look at your competitors. How many of those agents are doing videos right now? And if they are, check out what they're talking about and see if you can do better than them. So if they're talking about just the house that they're selling, it's not enough, because they're just talking transactional. What you're doing is, I'm moving away from being a salesperson to being an expert. And the way you do that is step by step, bite-sized pieces, like less than 90 seconds. That's all the information you're giving. And if people want to learn more, they have to comment.
Yeah, that's valid. I read another thing that was, agents are promoting the houses and not promoting themselves. So that this lays right into that.
Yeah, because if you have no houses to sell, then what do you talk about?
Yeah, that's valid. I have my pencil out. I'm making notes.
All right. So that's my feedback on just looking at it for like less than 5 minutes. So if you were to fix things on your personal brand right now, BeckyJean, after our conversation, what would that be?
First of all, time blocking videos, and coming up with a strategy of, will that be my bullseye? And if so, how am I going to put the parts and pieces together to build that portion of my business?
Yeah. And do you feel like you can do that by yourself, or do you feel like you need a little bit more expert guidance to get you there?
Brainstorming first will help me to make that decision. And I don't know if I'm going to need someone else. It's not that I'm unfamiliar with that territory. It's just digging into my experiences and putting that out there.
Yeah. So what needs to happen, BeckyJean, is right now you have an intermediate foundation for building a personal brand, because you already have a really great Google review set up. your name is showing up absolutely everywhere, but your name is not being associated to something, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just BeckyJean Thompson. She's a realtor. That's it. There needs to be something behind that now. So what we need to do is start building up layers into your brand. And then once those layers are built, then we'll have substance and depth behind your personal brand. And right now it's a bit shallow. So we need to start building around that.
Sure.
You up for the challenge, BeckyJean?
Of course. I'm always up for a challenge. It's my growth here. I can't say no.
Yes. All right. Well, we're wrapping up the Fairy BOSSmother Show now, BeckyJean. What was the biggest breakthrough you had today on the show?
I think partially because I'm not going to say I fully accept the bullseye, the bullseye theory, but partially accepting that would be a way to go. And overcoming my fears of pigeonholing myself into one source of business. But like you said, it's not like I'm going to say no to everyone else. It's just something that I specialize in.
Yeah, exactly. You're not pigeonholing yourself. You're still a realtor. You still sell and buy houses. But when you're talking specifically on your videos and talking to a really big audience, it's hard to capture that entire market, because if every other realtor is trying to capture a broad market, they're not going anywhere. So you're going to sound the exact same as all of the other realtors. But if you narrow your scope to just talking to a specific group or a specific thing, it doesn't even have to be a group of people, a specific emotion, maybe, what's one of the most distressing things about buying and selling a house? Or, if you're talking to investors, they want a return on their investment. So how can you ensure that you're the person that gets them more than they bargained for in terms of money? But there's lots of different angles that you can go into. It's just taking one and then going all in.
Yep. It's the picking one.
Yeah, it's picking one. Pick one that you feel the most comfortable leaning in. Give it 6 months, because you're going to need to, create this content, get it out and see what the response is like. And then if you feel like, this really isn't hitting, it might not be your position. It could just be what you're saying. That's not right. But you do need to give it time. And then people are going to start seeing you as an expert. I think that's what needs to change now. From salesperson to expert.
Fair.
Okay. One thing you're going to implement today.
Time blocking videos.
And when can we expect your next video to come out?
Actually, I came up with a little strategy for some videos for my buyer clients. So you will see another one tomorrow. I just posted one today.
Awesome. Look, BeckyJean, you're already doing it. You just kind of need to do it more, a little bit more consistently.
You're right. I just need that kick in the pants.
Yeah. That's it. You've got permission to go all out. Seriously, because you're already doing it. You just need to do a little bit more. So when the market is quiet, your inbox is not.
Yes, all the yeses.
All the yeses. Well, BeckyJean, it was wonderful having you on the show. And I can't wait to see all the things that you do. Keep working on your personal brand, because you've got it started. Now we just need your name dominated absolutely everywhere in this field.
I will keep working. Thank you, Taylene. I appreciate you.
Awesome. If you enjoyed this episode of the Fairy BOSSmother Show and you're a small business owner, apply to be a guest on the show and get your very own live brand review. You can apply by going to my website, www.bossdiplomat.com, or snap the QR code on this video. See you soon.